live. Alright, we are live. Hey everyone. We are Red Donkey Projections. I'm Eric, and we have Lucas as always.
Hey everyone.
This is our first ever special. It goes back to the time where we promised a 300 subscriber special, then a 500 subscriber special, then an 1,000 subscribers. No, then it was a 650 subscriber special. And now we're at 1,600 subscribers and we're making our 1,000 subscriber special.
Oh Lord. Yeah, essentially what happened was we were gonna do one at 500, but we were getting so many subs so quickly that we thought, you know what, let's wait till 1,000. And we just kind of forgot about it when we hit 1,000, but
yeah.
Here we are now. So, you guys have questions, let's start asking them. The first question we have, it was actually done before. Someone asked it to me before this stream because they couldn't come. Their question was, what type of videos do you like making the most? Eric, how about you answer this one?
Yeah. So, as you know, we make a lot of different types of videos, and we try to vary our, we can say, repertoire. And, we try to cover different things like VPs and polls and then our own predictions. And our own predictions is actually what we like the most because it kind of feels more personal to us because it's our own decisions, And, it's interesting that we ourselves given our 2 cents about what we think is going to happen state by state.
Yep. All right. So, we're getting a lot of questions. All right, let's start. Joe Biden's vice presidential pick. Okay. In my opinion, I think it's going to be Kamala Harris.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's exactly the best choice.
Yeah,
I know people might argue otherwise, but I'll say she's a solid pick. Probably not the best one, but I believe that Kamala Harris, at the moment, it's very likely that it will be her. She's been number one on everyone's list since the beginning. So
Susan Rice is a close second, though. And I actually saw an interesting report today done on TV, and it was actually Joe Biden on an interview this morning, or this afternoon, I'm not sure. And he said, I don't hold any grudges against anyone ever since the time of the debate. So we all remember how Kamala Harris kind of got aggressive with Joe Biden about his busing policies and how he kind of attacked him there. Now Joe Biden's saying, I forgive you, it was the heat of the moment. So what could that mean? That's just more likely for Kamala Harris that she's going to be the pick. All right. Next question. Are you together when making videos or not? No. We both sit in our own houses. We live in the same town. We've known each other. We're high schoolers. We go to the same school. But we stay at home and we connect using Zoom. And what's really convenient is that there's a very nifty recording function, and we just say stuff. And we can share a screen and project the map and whatever we're talking about. And then we can, and then we finish the recording, and then we go in, and then Lucas goes into an editing software, and then he puts in and makes it pretty.
Yeah. We are looking for alternative ways than that right now, but we're still searching.
Yeah.
All right. What do you think the chances are of Trump postponing the election and of postponing it indefinitely? Okay. From what I know, I think that Congress needs to first approve a postponing of the election, which Republican members in the House and the Senate have both already said that they were not going to support that. So I don't think the chances of that happening is pretty likely. How many gaffes can Biden afford to make before the polls swing back to Trump? Well, that's actually an interesting question.
Polling does, favor Joe Biden a lot. And we do gotta admit that he is slipping in the polls a little. And this was expected, The two trends that made him popular in the first place, well, actually one of them, the Black Lives Matter, it's kind of not much in the news anymore. And Joe Biden's not campaigning as much as Donald Trump. I don't know exactly how many gaffes, but, we'll have to see.
I feel like you can't really give, a general number. I think it's more about the severity of the gaps, I think, in that way. I know, was it Romney? Romney's 47% comment, is that what it was? Let me actually double check. I think that one definitely did not go down well for him. All right. What's your prediction for Oklahoma's 5th district? Okay, this one's actually a good question. From what I know, the PVI is +10 for the Republicans in general for that state. For that district. So for those of you who don't know, this district is held by a Democrat. I believe it's Kendra Horn, and a lot of news outlets have been putting this one as toss-up. I actually haven't seen too many polls on it. Yeah, I'm actually going to check that right, double check what the polls are. But this is a traditionally pretty Republican district, I believe. Although, it was a very, very, very close win in 2018 against Steve Russell. So I'm going to check 538 right now, but Eric, in the meantime, you can begin answering more of the other questions.
Yeah, sure. Pamela asks, who would be the best? And then she asks, McConnell, can he be beat? That's a pretty good question. Mitch McConnell is the Republican Senate Majority Leader from Kentucky. Yes, this race is kind of contested. Amy McGrath is a moderate Democrat, and she did win out slightly against the more progressive. I'm not sure about his name, but
Charles Booker.
Yes, Charles Booker. There you go.
Been a while.
McGrath has more of a shot against McConnell than Booker does, because a moderate Democrat is definitely more appreciated than a more progressive Democrat in the conservative electorate state of Kentucky. How much of a chance? Right now, in our Senate predictions, we put Kentucky as a likely state. So Mitch McConnell has a pretty good chance, because not only is he the Senate Majority Leader, he's an incumbent. And that gives him an advantage, because while we don't exactly know what Amy McGrath has done, we know about Mitch McConnell and his policy.
Yeah.
Next question. Can
He's
Biden...
Yeah, let me go back to Chris's question. I think Kendra Horn does have a slight lead. I didn't see any polls come out, but what's interesting is that in 2018, a lot of polls did seem to favor Russell, but I guess a large number of undecided voters swung to Horn at last moment. But I think it's going to be a very, very slight edge for Kendra Horn, but it's definitely one to take a look at.
Yep.
All right.
Next question.
I think Pamela for the first one, who would be the best? I think she's referring to who is the best vice president pick.
Ah, okay. Well, that's really a matter of an opinion. Some people like Kamala Harris because of her imposing stature and her, and she can be aggressive when she has to be. People like Susan Rice because she's very diplomatic and she's dealt with foreign relations. She used to be the national security advisor. So people like different people for different reasons. It's just a matter that Kamala Harris is very popular, and that's giving her the edge.
I don't personally think she's the best choice. I think the best choice would, honestly, at the moment, I will say Biden will have a very hard time because all of these candidates here, at least the well-known ones that we're talking about, I think all of them do have baggage.
Yeah, they all have their ups and downs.
Eric and I have been talking about this. I think, honestly, Luan Grisham is, I think, pretty solid, but the issue is no one knows her.
No one knows her. The markets have her at 1 cent.
No one knows her is that we don't know if she has a lot of baggage out. So we really don't know. Warren would technically, Warren would be a pretty good pick. She would help improve a lot of the places. But again, one of the biggest drawbacks is her age. She is 70. Mm-hmm. And if Biden doesn't choose to run for re-election, which looking at it right now, you won't, that will definitely be not that great for him.
Mm-hmm.
Can Biden take Texas, and how do you feel about his increased spending there? Okay, interesting question. Can Biden take Texas?
That's a huge question. Yeah, it's possible.
It's on the table now. That's what I'll say. When we started our channel, we put Texas as likely. It is no longer likely.
Republican.
Genuinely, I have my own personal belief that I don't think you should focus on Texas, but really it can come down to personal opinion because you have two options here. You can play it safe and try to get the blue wall. That's what I call playing it safe, just directing funding there, because with the blue wall you win. Or you can take a gamble and go for Texas, because if he can win Texas and hold every state Hillary won in 2016, we can they can also he can actually win by just taking Texas. He doesn't need the blue wall. That's kind of the gamble there.
Yeah, and
see DC, we're taking questions from the chat.
It's
debatable. It's really debatable.
My opinion is that, it is possible that it takes Texas. Biden was up in the polls. He's kind of slipping a little. he was at like 0.7, now he's at like 0.2. Very, very slim lead. But in terms of staying safe, I think that's the best bet. Because in our most recent presidential election video, or I think it was that video, we talked about how Donald Trump just pulled his ads out of Michigan. He essentially gave up there. And that's just, for Joe Biden, that would just be, common sense to now take over. Now that Donald Trump just pulled his ads out of there, his best bet is now to secure the blue wall. He can put as many ads as he wants without being contested, since there are no Republican ads. And again, that's all you need with the blue wall to win the election.
It's definitely an interesting move. Yeah, I'm actually genuinely don't know if it's the best scenario, I guess you could say. All right. Your ideas for Biden administration. Okay, interesting question. A very good one.
Yeah, very good question.
I do think Buttigieg will probably be in the cabinet. I remember Biden saying that he would put Buttigieg in the cabinet. What position? I'm not sure, but people were saying Department of the Secretary of Defense, but I'm actually not too sure about that.
Mm-hmm.
Department of Justice. Okay, so we were kind of thinking Kamala Harris as Attorney General, but a lot of people do think that will be problematic.
Yeah, especially with her previous experience as Attorney General. So.
Yeah, so I'm really not too sure about that.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see, what else? Treasury. I don't know, actually. For Secretary of Treasury, that's actually also a very good question. I got to get back to you on that.
Mm-hmm.
I think there is a possibility. I know Inslee's name has been out a lot. That one is definitely possible. Inslee might be in Biden's cabinet.
The thing is that if Susan Rice doesn't become the vice president, she will definitely be put somewhere in cabinet. That's for Biden. That I feel like that's no question that he would put Susan Rice into his cabinet if he doesn't choose her as his vice president.
Interesting pick. All right, what's next? Do you trust polls? Yes. It's definitely not the main factor.
Nope.
I'm sorry. Let me rephrase that. It is a major factor there, but it's not the sole indicator. It's a good predictor to see who could win, a state. 2016, technically the polls were wrong, but technically they weren't, because although polling did show Hillary winning in all three of the blue wall states, all four of the blue wall states, all of them were within the margin of error, with the exception of Wisconsin. So I'm really not too sure, how the margins will look this year. But right now it is looking very good for a Biden victory, because a lot of these states are outside of the margin of error.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right.
Next question. I know this is off the election. Do you think Trump will do something crazy? Like push a confrontation with North Korea or Iran? You don't have to answer.
I don't think so. Because
yeah.
I think that she's kind of dealing with a bigger crisis right now, being the coronavirus. I don't think he'll focus on foreign affairs, at least at the moment.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, Lucas.
Oh, okay. Sorry. I think my phone. Anyways, that's the answer to that question. Okay, another question, or actually a comment. He should take Elizabeth Warren as VP, then a lower of Kennedy and Markey. Okay, I think Warren would probably be an interesting pick, but again, age is probably the biggest factor there. All right, GC Perspective asks, did you know Trump pulled out ads in 2016 in the state of Wisconsin, but still won? Well, actually, I didn't know that, but what's important to note was that in 2016, Hillary didn't visit Wisconsin that much. I believe she visited it once after the convention, which was definitely not good. I do think that Joe Biden will probably learn from her mistakes and at least go a little bit more there. Yes, I did address Wisconsin. It was the one state that was outside the margin of error. All right.
Is Biden investing in Texas a waste of money? This is kind of deviated from a question we've answered, but it's actually a good question. He shouldn't put in a lot of money. I'm not exactly sure how much money he invested in Texas, but it shouldn't be his main goal. Taking Texas, of course, there would be absolutely no way that Donald Trump would win. You can see exactly. You can listen to our exact reasoning in a video that we actually made about this. He shouldn't.
Exactly. It's about taking a gamble or playing it safe. So it's really a bet there. What else? I think we missed a question, actually. Do you think Biden will win Oklahoma County? That's interesting, actually. I'm not too sure about that. I mean, election-wise, it might not really matter winning one county in Oklahoma, because I do think at the end of the day, Oklahoma is pretty safely Republican.
Yeah.
But that's an interesting question. I'll also get back to you on that one.
Do y'all think Biden is a one-term president? If so, is it reasonable to assume that his VP pick could be the 47th president? We do think. Yeah. I mean, it really depends on how healthy he's going to be. And we don't know that. And for now, we mostly think that Biden is going to be a one-term president, which is why this vice presidential pick is so important, because we do think that this vice president will take over Biden's spot when running in the 2024 election. So good question.
Yeah, I believe he said himself as well that he was not going to run he said he doesn't think he'll go for another term. Oh, Lichtman. Oh, we were actually discussing this.
Oh yeah, we did talk about Lichtman. What an interesting guy.
Yeah, it's a very interesting. For those of you who don't know, let me actually explain about that. Adam Lichtman is a professor, I believe, I forgot which college I think it's in New York. Oh no, he teaches in
Harvard,
DC,
I think.
American University, I believe.
I think it was
essentially, yeah.
Harvard, I think. Maybe I'm wrong.
Really, Harvard? No, I think he graduated from Harvard.
Oh, maybe that.
He doesn't teach there. But essentially, Adam Lichtman has this. I don't know if it's considered a theory, but he has these things called 13 keys. It's not based on polling. It's based off of the party that's currently in control of the White House. So these 13 keys are different factors, such as, is the opponent charismatic? Is the incumbent, is the opponent uncharismatic? Is the incumbent charismatic? Is
the economy bad? Were foreign relations good?
Short and long term. Is there no civil unrest? Is there, XYZ?
And if one side gets marked for all of those questions, they are the projected nominee. And according to him, this system has worked for 4 decades, 40 years.
Yeah, yes.
And that's
essentially they're all questions. Yeah.
That's 10 presidential terms.
So I'll give you an example. One of the questions is, did the incumbent party gain seats in the House of Representatives? True or false? The answer to that question is false, because obviously midterms last in 2018, huge gains for the Democrats. Since it's false, that is a key turned to the opposing party, which is Joe Biden. So all 13 keys, the current split is 6 and 7, with 7 keys turning to Joe Biden. So that means that Joe Biden's considered to win. So, do we trust Lichtman's prediction? Honestly, I think I would go for polling first. It's definitely a very interesting thought. I personally do think I do trust it a bit because of its impressive track record. In fact, he did predict that
Donald Trump would win in 2016.
Yeah, Trump would win, which a lot of people didn't predict. So I think it's definitely interesting. It's definitely not going to be the end-all, be-all. What do you think about the 2024 GOP primary? I'm leaning towards DeSantis versus Haley fight. Well,
that's a huge hypothetical. Which is possible. That could be, an interesting fight.
Obviously, DeSantis is not looking to be very popular right now.
Yeah. And that will definitely stain his reputation for the many years to come in his political career. And Nikki Haley would be sure to blast DeSantis for his handling of the coronavirus. So
I think possible candidates for 2024 include Hawley, Haley, Pence, possibly.
Yeah.
What else? Oh, Christie said he was actually considering. Governor Christie of New Jersey.
Yeah, interesting.
He said he was considering it, although I don't think people are going to like it that much. And yeah, I think those are the main ones. So 2024 is going to be interesting. It's a little bit too far out to do any predictions for that, but that's always interesting to put out there. All right. Next one. Do you think the Democrats will take this one? Eric, you can take this one.
Yes, we do think that the Democrats are taking a Senate in a pretty small margin, but that's always the case with the Senate race. And the thing is that we do predict that Biden will win the election, and if the Senate is at a 50-50 tie, the vice president does break the vote. And despite who that is, either Kamala Harris or Susan Rice, they will definitely vote for the Democrat. So we do think that even if it's a 50-50, which is honestly the worst case scenario, very close to the worst case scenario for the Democrats, the vice president can break the tie anyway. So we do think that, the Senate will be taken back by the Democrats, which could pass some laws.
Although I will say a 50-50 is still very dangerous and still on the borderline, because you have the very moderate Democratic senators, you have so we have the very moderate senators like Joe Manchin or Angus King. It's Joe Manchin in particular. Doesn't vote in line with the Democrats that much. So even in a 50-50 tie, that's still very dangerous for the Republicans, for the Democrats, either way.
Mm-hmm. It's always, dangerous waters.
All right. What else is there?
What does everyone think of the Green and Libertarian Party, and will they gain more votes in the presidential race since 2000? So we do know that, they are third party, very small parties, and essentially what they do, they take the vote out of either the Democrat or the Republican, usually the Democrat. And that's basically what they do.
I think it does vary at times.
Sometimes it does vary.
Green Party takes from the Democrats sometimes, and the Libertarians sometimes take from the Republicans. It's called the spoiler effect. It's kind of controversial because we don't know 100% for sure if it's actually true or not. But it's interesting. But I personally don't think Democrats or the third parties will perform as well as they did in 2016 because Gary Johnson was polling very high. He had 7% by now, but Joe Jorgensen's not polling that well at the moment.
Yeah.
All right. If there was no COVID, would Trump be likely to win? Actually, funny question.
Very good question, actually, too, because that's something to take into consideration.
Yeah. We were going to make a video on this, but we don't think he was the favorite necessarily. We think it was probably a tie. It would definitely be very, very close. If you watch some of our very early videos, it was very much too close to call. We didn't think that either candidate had an edge because although Trump is the incumbent, he's not popular. His approval rating, even then, was high 30s, low 40s. That's pretty bad for an incumbent president.
Yeah, but the thing is, that was January, February when the coronavirus just kind of became international, and Donald Trump was in a very good position. Just got acquitted from impeachment. Economy was doing well under his term. And his approval rating was, high comparing to, where it was earlier in the presidency. The moment coronavirus hit, of course, and the Black Lives Matter movements kind of arised from, the epicenter in Minneapolis all over the country, it definitely went, it went into steep decline. And the Republican Party did have its low point, and the Democrats did have their high point sometime in July. Again, that kind of calmed down ever since that happened. But if no corona happened, it would be a very close race. We were thinking that Wisconsin would go to Trump in a tilt margin, surprisingly.
Yeah, early March, Trump's approval rating was the highest it's been since the beginning of his term, but that has clearly crashed now. Will Don Jr. run? I mean, it's possible. Of course, this is considering if we're going to consider that Trump loses or Senior Trump loses. I mean, I think it is possible that he can make it run, but honestly, I'm kind of 50-50 split on this one. I'm not completely sure.
Mm-hmm.
All right, spoiler effect is true. Is there any other questions? Not sure. I don't think we have any other questions here. Let's see. Do you think Biden will carry Arizona? Yes, I do.
Yeah.
It's in the lead right now for us. Eric, you can go into it a little bit more.
Arizona, yeah. Once again, this used to be a very conservative area, surprisingly. And that definitely is starting to change a little bit. We do think that Joe Biden is going to win Arizona just because of the coronavirus that did happen there. Fortunately, the cases are going down in Arizona. I'm very grateful and happy to hear that. But overall, Donald Trump's coronavirus handling is very not approved of everywhere in the country. Well, in most places in the country. And, Arizona is having this new Hispanic electorate, which mostly lean Democratic. And they are in support of Black Lives Matter, and they usually lean Democratic. So we do think that Joe Biden does have a pretty good shot at taking this state.
Oh no, someone said the delay in our stream is pretty extreme. Not good to hear that. But, anyway, do you think Alaska will be a future swing state? Well, Alaska's definitely going to the left a bit. That's for sure. Swing state? I mean, possible. I mean, every state's possible to become a swing state, but does Arizona really matter that much? I mean, it's 3 electoral votes, but I don't think anyone's going to kind of focus on that.
We really can't be sure because Texas became a swing state, and that was known as one of the most conservative, well, not one of, it was up there as safe Republican state, and that completely changed in this election. So you never know. Anything changes within months. Will the debates matter with no audience? That's a good question. There's definitely going to be a different effect. People will definitely be watching from TV. The audience will be there, just not physically. How much that will affect the debates, not sure. I guess that could kind of sway people's,
Although, I'm going to be honest, in general, I don't think... I mean, debates definitely could, have a slight impact, but I don't think it's going to have a huge, election-turning impact. In 2016... Hillary Clinton was considered to have won all 3 debates, and she lost the election. So I don't think it's going to have that much impact there. Do you think JFK could beat Trump and by how much? Oh, good question.
Good question, yeah.
Well, this depends. Was JFK elected first? If JFK was elected first...
he would be incumbent. That would, be a huge...
He was quite popular, too. He was quite popular before because he was assassinated. I think he probably could beat Trump. How much? The thing is, it's kind of hard to tell. And the reason for that is because in the 1900s, the political landscape was a lot less polarized. In 1936, you saw FDR win a landslide. I think it was actually 32. Sorry, 1932 or 36, somewhere around there. It was against Alf Landon. He won in a landslide. Ronald Reagan, 1980, 1984, took almost every single state. Now, the nature of the political landscape now is very, very polarized.
Yeah, polarized.
To the point where some states are just not going to go one way or the other. Blue Wyoming is not going to happen. But, so that's why it is kind of hard to tell how much he'll exactly win by. Do y'all know when Biden is going to announce his VP pick?
Definitely by Monday, I think. No sooner than Monday. His
statement was, I think he said, something about the 10th. So initially what he said was, okay, I'll announce it on August 1st. He then announced a few days before that, I'll actually do it on the first week of August. Then he said, I'll do it in the second week of August. So it'll be this week. So any time this week, we're going to probably know who his VP pick is.
Yep. Do you guys want Biden VP to be... Who do you guys want Biden VP to be? And who do you think it will be? We've answered this question, but we do think it's going to be Kamala Harris. We personally do not want her to be we don't want it to be Kamala Harris just because of her track record and no, that's the biggest part, her track record and her dealing with criminal justice, which is was a hot topic very recently, and I don't know, how that would turn out. Once again, Susan Rice is a close second, and that's also very possible.
As I said earlier, I personally think that Kamala Harris is a solid pick. It's not the best one because every single candidate that's currently being considered, that's well known, that's a top contender, has baggage. So it's now about outweighing which baggage is more than the other. So it's going to be really tough for the Biden campaign to choose his vice president. So I think that, honestly, I think Tammy Duckworth is a pretty good pick. Kamala Harris, as I said, is a solid pick, not the best, not the worst. I don't think Demings is probably not the best pick because she was a police chief. She could get
lack of experience too. Lack of experience as well. That's also
lack of experience. Mm-hmm. So I genuinely don't know. As I said, my topic is probably between Rice. Rice does have some baggage, but
she said a few things about Benghazi.
Definitely not as much as
Harris.
Right, as Harris, but
what do you think about the Iowa Senate race? I think Ernst will lose. What do you think? Right now, if you want to check out our current Senate prediction, which we did pretty recently, we think it's a tie. We don't have enough information, and the polls aren't that consistent, and we can't make a proper conclusion. So we do think that it's a toss-up.
If we had to call it one way or the other, we would call it for Ernst. But it's really debatable. If Texas turns into another California for the Democrats, then Republicans will be in trouble for the future. That's actually, I want to say that I do think that is a pretty good point. What the Republicans are going to focus on after they might lose Texas is they might focus on that Midwest. But I do think states in the Midwest are kind of losing population now, so that will be definitely interesting to keep a look at. I know it's an interesting election question, but how many in the Generation Z will vote in each state? Okay, that's a very good question. Here's what I'll say. As the old saying goes, young people tweet and the older people vote. And I think we might be seeing that. Because in the primaries I do think Bernie probably could have won if the younger people went and voted, but they didn't really vote that much.
Yeah, next election, that much. Each election is 4 years, right? 4 years apart. Right. And 14-year-old people who, support Bernie Sanders, and most of the generation is around that age, next election, most of them, a good fraction of them could be eligible to vote. And that definitely could swing the election.
But I feel like it's not just about not being old enough to vote. It's just that a lot of the younger people just don't choose to vote.
Yeah. They're not really informed. Yeah. Do you guys mind saying who you think will win the election? Where are we from?
All right. You want to answer this one?
Yeah. We've made lots of presidential predictions. You can go check them out. But we do think Biden is winning by a pretty good margin. 334 electoral votes. What state are we from? We are from New Jersey.
All right. What is the bluest state? Not a state, but D.C. is the undoubtedly the bluest. Never voted for a Republican since it was allowed to start voting in, I believe, one of the amendments.
Yep.
So very blue. All right. Could Biden lose if his VP pick is Harris? Okay. Sorry, Rice. As I said on the Purple Political podcast, VP picks don't put that much of an impact on the election. It's more about who they're voting for president. I mean, sometimes you do see that vice presidential pick that really isn't that great and kind of does impact the election, like Sarah Palin in 2008 definitely was not that great of a pick. but I don't necessarily think that Biden can lose if his VP pick is necessarily bad. What do y'all think the upcoming debates are going to be? Do y'all think the upcoming debates are going to be the most watched years possible?
Most watched, it has to be, because I'm not sure if there's going to be any audience in debates, so everyone's going to be online, streaming, TV, whatever. So
I think it's possible.
Next question. Do you think that Russia will have that much impact on the election? There was an interesting article or report that came out yesterday that says that China wants Biden to win and Russia wants Trump to win.
Very interesting.
Very interesting.
I think it is too early to call if they're really going to have an impact.
Yeah, we can't really tell.
We can't really tell.
And that's a very controversial topic.
Yeah, I guess so. All right, Griff. Hey, Griff. Do you think Lisa Murkowski will win her primary in 2020? A very interesting question again. Murkowski is definitely not that well liked. Looking at the approval, she doesn't look, because she is a very, very moderate candidate. Will she lose her Senate primary? I think it's definitely very possible, because she could get primaried by a candidate and possibly lose. But again, 2022 is still 2 years away, very early to tell still. What are the chances California becomes a red state? No.
Very low.
Very low.
Very low.
California, unlike Texas, California is, actually, just like Texas, California is also moving more to the left, not moving more to the right. So, not high chances that California becomes a red state.
Yeah.
Trump won over Rust Belt on anti-globalization and southern states on anti-immigration. What would Republicans really rate his performance on those issues? I'm actually not too sure.
Interestingly, some Republicans themselves state that Donald Trump really has swung the party in some sort of direction. And Republicans are saying that within their own party. Some Republicans are staunch Trump supporters, such as Cory Gardner and Ron DeSantis and Lindsey Graham, sometimes. And I say sometimes because he's an interesting figure in terms of supporting Donald Trump.
Yeah, he's changed in 2017, I think.
People call him Lindsey Graham 1.0 and Lindsey Graham 2.0 because of, interesting. Some Republicans love him, some Republicans kind of dislike him, like Mitt Romney. Donald Trump hates on Mitt Romney for Romney hating on him, so... Donald Trump has definitely skewed the party in a direction, and some Republicans are okay with that, some Republicans are not. It's just a matter of, how moderate are you?
Like John Kasich, for example.
Yeah, John Kasich. He's expected to speak at the Democratic convention, so that's saying something.
Yeah, very interesting. If Trump loses, will there still be Trumpism in the Republican Party after he's gone?
Oh, of course. There definitely. It's definitely gonna stay there. There are rumors. I really can't be sure, but there are rumors that Donald Trump will, if he's term limited, if he wins the election, which is unlikely, he might either run again or ask Mike Pence, his vice president, to kind of run, and that's very possible. So
that actually be an interesting move, though, to choose Mike Pence, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Do you think Biden's gonna win Florida? Yes. We made a huge video on that.
And it was a collaboration with
about why Biden will win Florida according to what's happening right now. It's a combination of one, DeSantis' poor handling, two, everything in the world is going on everything in the country that's going right now, like Black Lives Matter. So we do think Biden will carry forward, and he's doing very well in the polls. All right.
Yeah.
Pence, no chance. All right, that's interesting. Pence, no chance. A lot of people do think that Pence doesn't have that energy as much as
Donald Trump.
As much as Trump had. So
he only made his most important appearance this year when he took control of the White House Coronavirus Task Force. Before that, yeah, he was kind of a more subtle person. He just followed what Donald Trump did.
Yeah, I guess so. I agree with you. I don't think he has too much of a chance either. Do you think Democrats can keep the Rust Belt after 2020? I mean, that depends how much you're going after 2020, but for the short term, yes, I do think they will be able to keep the Rust Belt. All right. Do you think states... Oh, sorry, I missed one. Do you have a website in each state to check on how many of them registered to vote this year in 2020? I actually do not. I will try to find one, but I'll definitely check. Do you think states like Texas, Arizona, and Georgia will still be competitive for Democrats if... Oh gosh, my stream's buffering.
I can take over. Do you think states like Texas, Arizona, and Georgia will still be competitive for Democrats if a Republican like Trump, but without the large effort movement that Trump currently has? Wait, hold up.
I think that I still think the states are going to why am I losing my train of thought? I still think that but I still think that they will be still moving to the left because they have been trending this way. Arizona, they're having a larger Hispanic electorate. Georgia is a larger African American electorate now. So I do think even without Trump, it would still be going this way.
The U.S. Census projects that whites will make up a minority of the electorate in 2060. How would that affect politics if that prediction holds true? Well, right now, minorities do tend to lean Democratic. There are some Latinos, I think there's a 1% support of Latinos for Donald Trump.
No, it's an increase of a 1% support.
Yeah, increase of a 1%
28% support for Trump.
Always mess that up. We don't know. Maybe the Democratic and Republican parties themselves will kind of switch based on policy, because that has happened, before in history. It was kind of like the Democratic and the Republican parties were switched, and then they switched in like the 20th century. Maybe there will be that switch again in 2060. We really time will tell.
But I think if there are more minorities, that will definitely benefit the Democratic Party, because a lot of them do tend to support the Democrats. Looking at like support in general, as I said, Latinos, 29% of Latinos support President Trump at the moment, which is a 1% increase from 2016. African American support, I'm not sure where the number is now, but I know 2016 was about 8% from African Americans. So yeah, I think it definitely probably will benefit the Democrats.
Mm-hmm.
Do y'all think we will know the winner on November 3rd? Oh, I personally think that we might have to wait for mail-in ballots, but if the margin of victory, I guess if it's that large enough, maybe we will know the winner ahead of time.
Mm-hmm. What is the chance of election fraud? This has been up in the news a lot about, mail-in ballots could be tainted. But I did read a statistic that said like 0.002 there's a 0.0028% chance of that happening, but I'm really not sure. Election fraud is not our area of expertise per se.
But I don't think it's that.
It's not that likely. Doesn't Vermont have the longest streak for voting Republican? Depends on what. They're pretty safe. They are safe in the presidential, but they have a Republican governor, and he is up in the polls by like 30-something points.
Yeah, he's very popular.
Yeah.
But Vermont in general is a very, very Democratic state. All right. What are the chances Alabama stays with Democrats?
Senate. Not likely.
No. Doug Jones, he was that once-in-a-lifetime candidate that got extremely lucky. He was against a very unpopular first candidate. He was against Roy Moore, who has a bunch of allegations against him. I think he was not a good candidate. And even though all of that was true, like, even though Roy Moore was such a bad candidate, Doug Jones still only won by 2%. So with Tommy Tuberville, I don't think it's definitely not going to be not in good shape for Doug Jones.
Yeah, and also Tuberville is being endorsed by Donald Trump, so that's also giving him the leg up in Alabama.
News story about Russia and China. Okay, I think Eric did address this in the beginning. I'm not sure if it was exactly to interfere, but I do think that it said that both countries were supporting one candidate.
Russia wants Trump to win. China wants Biden to win. But that.
Yeah, I don't think it was. I don't think it was interfering.
That was a very broad report. I still have to look into that.
I don't believe it was interference though. Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right. Do you think Rust Belt will continually screw over? Do you think that the Rust Belt will continually
be screwed over by both
Dems and Republicans? I mean, I think if you're talking about this for the future, for the short term at least, I do think the Democrats should be able to have it in their column. But I'm not too sure. I'm not too sure what the question is. Will it continually?
I don't know what you mean by be screwed. Cause like
I think. But you can re-ask that because we are still we don't really know what you're asking. Oh, your name's Lucas too. Good to know. Okay, good.
Hi, Ethan. Yep, this is Ethan the Bloggy. You go check out his channel. Very, very insightful content.
Yeah,
we actually do collaborations with him pretty often. Do you think Cuomo or Newsom will run in 2024? No, those. I think that's kind of correct. What you said.
I think Cuomo's possible.
It's
Newsom?
possible, but I don't think he, officially disclosed that. Maybe he will be tired of being a governor after what he had to deal with coronavirus. Time will tell.
Oh, Newsom will run. Interesting. I feel like Cuomo is being seen right now as being like very presidential and very good candidate, but I do remember him saying that he didn't want to run. But then again, candidates often do reverse their decisions. Like Steve Bullock said he wasn't going to run for the Senate, then he ran. Marco Rubio in 2016 said he wasn't going to run for Senate after he was running for president, and then he ran for Senate. So he could reverse his decision. It's definitely possible. All right. Who do you think Biden's VP will be? We believe that it is... We think that at the moment it will be Kamala Harris. We don't think it's the best choice, but we do think that's the direction he might be going at the moment. All right, from Paul, I think you're talking about Adam Lichtman again. I think we answered this question like 3 times now, but yes, we did see the guy. It was very interesting. We do think Biden will win, and the keys kind of aren't the main indicator there, but they do kind of reinforce this thought that Biden will probably win in November. All right. Can you guys do a counting map prediction of each state with? Oh gosh, that would take a
very long time, and that's also.
We will consider doing that.
Yeah,
definitely.
Part of the reason why we don't do House is just because how many districts there are. 500 and a lot, hundreds. we tried to do sections of we tried to do sections of countries and do those districts, but again, that took way too much time, and it was very we couldn't figure out a way to organize it. Maybe in the future, but we don't know yet.
So yeah, maybe. Although we have been, with our state by state analysis now, we have been looking more at counties, so maybe that would be good too. All right. What else? Thanks for the super chat. Let's see. Do you think Joe Kennedy in the future will run for president?
He's running for the Senate right now, am I correct?
Right. And actually, funny thing was he gave the response to this Trump State of the Union address in 2017, I think, and a lot of people said that they wanted him to run for president.
I think he needs a bit more experience.
He needs a bit more experience.
I think be in the Senate for a bit, and then
then run for president. He is very young still, anyways.
Because that was the mistake with Stacey Abrams. She was very ambitious in terms of really wanting to get in the vetting process to be Joe Biden's vice president. The thing is, she didn't have that much experience yet, and maybe in the future she may be the vice president for another candidate.
Genuinely, in my opinion, she should have run for Senate. She had a very good chance of winning Senate, but she didn't run for it. All right. Thanks again, Nick, for the super chat. We really do appreciate that, because we do want to invest some more money on better equipment, because our mics, you can hear right now, are pretty bad.
Yeah. The thing is, we can't have a two-way stream going on, so I just have Lucas on phone right now, which seems kind of pathetic, but we gotta deal with it.
All right. If Attorney General Barr announces an investigation into Biden in October, could that make Biden lose? That does sound kind of similar to what happened in 2016. When Hillary was investigated for her emails. We could see some, I believe it's called an October surprise.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, October surprise.
But again, I think even when you're asking that question, there's still so many hypotheticals out there. Is Biden still doing well from now to November? Is Biden going to falter from now to November? So there is a lot of questions that need to be asked from that one question. Could it potentially make him lose? Yes, but it's still too early to tell whether yes or no.
Mm-hmm. There are 430... Did I say 500 districts? Oh, I'm so sorry. Yeah, I always mix that number up, whether it's either 534 or 438. Yeah. Yeah, my bad. As Ethan corrected, there are 435 House districts. Do not credit me.
What other prediction channels do you guys watch? Which do you think is the best? Alright, let's see.
I don't know what you mean by best. I know most popular up there is Ready Go Politics and Let's Talk Elections.
Yeah, Let's Talk. I personally watch Let's Talk Elections, Election Predictions Official. I watch Ethan Vloggy, God of Politics. Best is... it's a very subjective opinion. I generally don't think I have a favorites.
Yeah, me neither.
Because they are all pretty good. They all give their own particular insight on the election. I agree with you. I do think that Red Eagle Politics is relatively biased to the right.
Relatively biased, and that word is,
Let's just drop it at that.
Yep. Yeah.
Do you think Biden needs to campaign more aggressively than what he's doing now? Possibly.
Depends where.
I mean, yeah, that's a good point. I remember Nixon getting scrutinized for his 1960 run. He visited every single state, which, to be quite honest, was very stupid, because some states are just not going to go one way or the other. So Biden can campaign more aggressively, probably in the blue wall area. That would definitely be beneficial.
Yeah.
All right. Do you think Biden has the Rust Belt locked down? No. Hillary Clinton thought she had the Rust Belt locked down in 2016. She did not.
Biden has to reinforce that area very well.
Yeah, exactly. He has to reinforce it. He has done it right now, that I'll say for sure, but he needs to reinforce that. right now, Michigan is looking in a very good position to go to Joe Biden, but he needs to focus now on like Pennsylvania and Wisconsin.
Mm-hmm.
Good question. So did I miss any questions? So I think that's it for the questions. Does anyone else have any questions? We'll stay on until 5. If anyone does have any more questions, you can go ahead and ask.
Yep.
If we don't get any more questions by 5, we'll end the stream.
Yep.
Okay, we just got a question. All right. Which state do you think is most likely to swing in 2020? Do you mean by flip? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, like swing where? In what direction?
I think he means flip from red to blue, I believe.
Mm-hmm. That would probably be
Michigan,
Florida. Yeah, and the whole blue wall. Yeah, I completely forgot Trump won that in 2016 for a moment.
But yeah, that's looking in a very good position for going to Trump. Biden right now. Would Trump win if Bernie plays spoiler? We actually made a video on that a long time ago. It, again, really depends. You have 2 scenarios here. Either Bernie can take the Green Party the Green Party nomination, maybe he has a higher chance there, taking from Howie Hawkins. But I think it's definitely possible that Trump could win if Bernie plays spoiler. It's possible for sure. How much of the vote will Biden get in Oklahoma?
Oklahoma is a fairly safe state for the Republicans, but again, as we talked about, some districts are pretty swing.
I mean, I would guess, like, maybe about as much Hillary got, maybe a tiny bit better, but still really not that much. Maybe 30-35%, somewhere around there.
Yeah, maybe Biden can get Oklahoma County, as we talked about, but I don't see anything else being won. Which state do you think each campaign needs to focus on the most? Well, we do think that, I'm assuming you're talking about the presidential election, but in terms of the presidential election, I think that Joe Biden, should play it safe, because Hillary Clinton did not, and that cost her the election,
Yeah.
Biden has to campaign the blue wall. It's a must for him if he wants to win, and because it has to be reinforced. And once again, as I said in the beginning of the stream, I think that's it's been given the go-ahead, because Donald Trump pulled ads out of Michigan, and yes, Trump pulled ads out of Michigan and Wisconsin, but that's because Hillary Clinton didn't visit that area. If Biden puts ads there and visits those states, he can win.
Well, obviously not like visit, but...
Yeah, but like not visit, but like refer to and address and, get personal with that state, as you should, as I can't speak today, as much as possible during these times.
Now, talking about the Trump campaign, I think he also should probably focus on blue wall. That's probably the best place he can flip over, or focus on Florida too. That would be a good idea as well.
And also, it's good to mention nowadays, Texas. Trump has to reinforce, or in order to win Texas, Trump has to reinforce what's going on there, because
again, it's going to be a gamble for Trump as well. Should he play defense in Texas more, or should he play offense in the blue wall more? That again, it's very much up to
And time is ticking. Less than 100 days until the election.
Yeah. What's our favorite pollster? Not sure what you mean by that.
Polling website, we usually use 538.
538.
If 538 doesn't have something, we use Real Clear Politics. We tend to try to look for A+ pollsters like Marist College or Fox News or whatever.
Oh, he was asking individual.
Oh,
I think. Oh, okay. I think. Yeah, we go for the A+ pollsters like Marist. Fox News actually is pretty credible. It's an A- pollster. I think we usually do look for Fox News. Marist College, Quinnipiac, we do use sometimes. We go for the ones that are a bit less biased. Like we're not going to trust Trafalgar.
So suggestion, yes, do not use Trafalgar or Gravis for the.
And Gravis is terrible too. We're not going to use Gravis.
No.
Do you think if Biden wins, will he give Puerto Rico state? Very good question. If Puerto Rico were to become a state, it would probably be lean Republican. It would be a swing state, but it would probably be slightly into the Republicans.
I think first he has to focus on, or like, in terms of areas becoming states, he should focus on mainland DC. And if that doesn't work out, I'm not sure if he'll go on to try to make Puerto Rico a state.
Well, here's the main argument that Democrats have for DC becoming a state is because DC is paying taxes, federal taxes, while Puerto Rico isn't paying taxes. So they don't think it's fair that DC's not getting representation, even though they're paying taxes. So I don't think that he would make Puerto Rico a state.
Mm-hmm. Do you think Biden should travel a little bit more to swing states, not holding rallies, but do you think he should visit some states like Trump has been doing? If coronavirus is down in a particular state, yes. But again, this virus does, tend to be more vulnerable. Old people are more vulnerable to the virus, which is, Joe Biden's pretty old. You can't sugarcoat that. Biden is a pretty old candidate, and he really has to be careful and stay healthy, as long as to any other senior citizen out there. Yeah, I think once the COVID cases go down for a little bit, he should visit a state, but he should not hold huge rallies, and if anything, masks should be mandated.
All right. Quinnipiac has been wrong every election since 2014. But Trafalgar has been right. All right, Quinnipiac is not our most trusted.
Yeah, that's not our go-to poll.
But Trafalgar is there's a clear bias of Trafalgar to the right. Yes, they did get a couple right in 2016. They got it right because they did poll it near the end, so they were able to kind of know that there was a chance that Trump could win. And that's Ethan's actually commenting right now too. Ethan, we actually talked a bit about this. In 2016, if you looked at the day right before Election Day, a lot of the polls do look like it did look like that Trump might pull out a victory. It was definitely possible. It was not likely at the time, but it was possible. And the reason for that was because 2016 had a large number of undecided voters because both candidates were very unpopular. And obviously a lot did decide kind of last minute. So that's why the pollsters that polled at the end were more kind of accurate there. So lessons to learn from 2016. The polling was not wrong. It was not wrong because it was actually the mainstream media that got it wrong. They interpreted the polls the wrong way. They because there was always a high undecided number, and some of those undecided voters, I believe a majority actually, did end up swinging to the Trump column at the end of the day, right before Election Day. All right. What are our opinions on DC becoming a state? Interesting question. To me, it honestly, it just doesn't seem that fair that DC's paying taxes and as Ethan said, they're not getting subsidies in return. That's why I do think personally DC should become a state, because they are paying taxes and not getting subsidies. So I don't think that's particularly fair.
I love your Discord. Yep. What do you think? What do you both think of Discord? Well, the community, or at least the political community of Discord, is actually pretty intense. People run mock trials and mock elections and mock debates. So yeah, it's actually it's a pretty interesting experience. And the thing is, it can be all done remotely. You don't have to disclose your names or anything, and you can still express your love of politics. So yeah, Discord is a really amazing thing.
Cool. Are you guys interested in the politics of any other country? I'm from UK, so I'm just interested. Okay, good to know. We are considering it. Because, next year is going to be like...
Off year.
2021, it's an off year. I mean, sure, governor elections, but... I mean, our state's governor is up for re-election, but we think Murphy's going to win at the moment.
Yeah, he's an incumbent too.
We might do policies with other countries. That's definitely on the table. We might do like UK, Singapore, sorry, Ethan, but definitely possible on the table. No, we can't vote.
Yeah, we're still high schoolers. We're not 18 yet.
Yeah, we're still high schoolers. And to your second question, we don't really like expressing our opinions on our channel that much because we do have viewers on like kind of all over the spectrum. But I will say, if you guys don't know who we are supporting, then that means we did a pretty good job saying unbiased then. So
your opinion on Red Eagle. All we're gonna say, without trying to go on a tangent, is that conservatively biased.
Yeah.
Yep.
And again, I'm not defending that I'm not defending his bias, but every source will have bias. Some have more than others. We have bias. Every channel has bias.
Channel. We're not encyclopedias,
Yeah, so we don't want to start some drama.
Yeah.
We'll leave it at that.
Yeah, exactly.
I think Kamala will perform the best.
It's possible. And I feel like, yes, she kind of was aggressive with Joe Biden, but, depending on who she's working for, she is a pretty good speaker. She's very definitely enticing to Democrats and all of that. But I'm actually not sure how Susan Rice speaks. Maybe she's better. Maybe she's more diplomatic and knows how to deal with debates, but I'm not sure.
Who do you think will win in 2020?
Are you talking about the presidential, or...?
Let's just run through all three. We think Biden will win the presidency, we think Democrats will take control of the Senate, and we think Democrats will hold the House. So we actually made a video yesterday about that.
With Ethan, actually.
Alright, I think that does seem to be it for the questions for now. We'll keep this open for a few more minutes. Anyone does want to trickle in some more questions. So let's talk about our channel, actually. I guess if we have like no one here. Oh, well, we got a question. Do you think Biden will debate well against Trump? Will he be better in a one-on-one like he was against Bernie? Well,
I think we have to address the fact that, kind of not dodging it, Joe Biden, admitting himself has a bit of a stuttering problem. He's kind of come to terms with it and is doing his best to kind of, put that aside. But sometimes he has gaffes, as one of our viewers on the stream did say.
Mm-hmm. And I feel like both these candidates are definitely not great speakers.
Nope. Yeah, that's
definitely not like Obama level speaking, because he is like a great speaker. JFK, Ronald Reagan, Barack Obama. Those are three great speakers. I don't think the two of them match up to that standard. Will he debate better? I feel like
it also comes down to the vice presidential candidate too, and how they can support them. Well, at least for the Democrat, we do know who the Republican will be.
I think it's actually possible that he could debate better one-on-one, because in the Democrat primary, we had everyone attacking him all at once, so maybe he will do better with a one-on-one.
Yeah, maybe.
All right. What inspired you to start a channel? Okay, good question.
Very good question, actually. Interesting question.
I'll answer this one.
Sure.
So obviously we're under quarantine right now, social distancing at our homes. I think we started in May, actually.
May 4th.
Yeah, May 4th. That's the exact date. May the 4th be with you. We were, obviously kind of bored. We couldn't do anything, couldn't have, any outside hobbies. So we're like, you know what? Let's make a YouTube channel. Let's, quote unquote, kill two birds with one stone. Let's do something for ourselves, for something for us to do, and give other people the opportunity to watch our videos and entertain them as well while they're under quarantine. So that is why we started our channel. And thank you for subscribing.
Yep, of course. Support is always appreciated.
I watched the video. I think that's pretty accurate. I think things will go. Yes, I do agree. I think things will probably get closer towards election day.
Mm-hmm.
That's definitely possible.
Yeah. I'm not sure about coronavirus, but I feel like the Black Lives Matter protests, despite if Democrats saying or not, it's definitely not trending in the news anymore. It's kind of phased out. I think the protests have also calmed down just a little. So, yeah, things will get closer. And also, we talked about the October surprise and how anything can change, whenever. That same thing happened in 2016, and that really hurt Hillary Clinton. Do you think Biden will bring up his stutter during the debates when Trump tries to target him for being mentally unstable? You see, Biden, did admit himself that he does have this stutter, and he does try to deal with it. He had like a whole long interview response about it. I don't think he's gonna try to bring it up as an excuse of being mentally unstable. He will probably just refute that and rebuke that. He doesn't like to talk about it. He talked about it once just to let the public know, but he probably doesn't like bringing it up a lot.
But I will say this, I feel like the Trump's campaign's main attack on Joe Biden right now is that he's he's older and he is quote unquote mentally unstable. If they're attacking them for that, I just personally feel like maybe he doesn't have any baggage to find. And I don't think that he has enough baggage to get on Biden to attack him more like he did with Hillary. Hillary had a lot of baggage. He was able to easily attack him a lot. But now with Biden, he doesn't have that much baggage. So I feel like he might be kind of attacking if he's kind of attacking him for his stutter and for his age. I feel like he doesn't have anything else to attack for. So,
and on the other hand, Joe Biden has a term full of things to attack Donald Trump for, which he will have to be prepared to respond to. And once again, both of these speakers are not the best, we have to admit. So,
Dee's perspective, Biden has baggage. That's no lie, but it's not up to the amount of baggage as Hillary had. It does not compare to the amount of that Hillary had, and Biden is a lot more popular than Hillary is as well. All right. Do you think Trump will find it hard to get personal with Biden, as Biden doesn't have? I think I did kind of answer that question in the other question. All right. Do you think Trump is finding it hard to get a nickname to stick with Joe Biden because Sleepy Joe doesn't seem to work as much as... Yeah, I think I also answered that question before. It's just that he just doesn't have... He can't attack Biden for pretty much anything except for his age right now, which shows that there's really nothing to attack Joe Biden for at the moment. Could Trump beat Obama in 2008? I would actually say no to that. Obama was that once-in-a-lifetime candidate. A very good speaker, considered to be pretty charismatic. I feel like there was really no stopping him. And also it's because George W. Bush's handling of the economy was very poor. I don't think any Republican could have really defeated any Democratic candidate because of how George W. Bush handled it. And John McCain trying to distance himself as much as he could, but he still lost in a landslide at the end of the day. Who will win Texas? At the moment, a slight lean for Trump.
Yeah.
Because things are looking to be pretty tight. Texas should not be competitive, but it is competitive this election.
Yeah, lots have changed since March and May, whenever we started this channel. Yeah, interesting how the tables turn so quickly.
I agree.